So this lesson is about building your list. And if I look back at my success, which has just been incredible, this from Mr. Mom to having this multi-million-dollar business, and this incredible impact on the world, changing the face of marketing, it's all because right from the start, I focused on list building, and I focused on list building no matter what. That was just my number one focus for 20 plus years, was building my list. And I think it's because I realized in this business, it's like the one true asset that you can have that you can control. Everything else can get taken away or get knocked off, or you can lose. But if you have an email list, then you've got an asset that you can control, that you own. And notice I didn't say anything about social media. It's email. Email is the game changer. And people think email's been around forever. It's lost its effectiveness. It's no longer cool. They're all wrong. I've seen this over and over and over in my launches and in the launches and the businesses of all my students and clients and followers and the people in Launch Club, the people in my Platinum program. I know people that have social followings in the tens or hundreds or even millions, and the amount of traffic and the amount of clicks they can drive with their social pales in comparison to what they can do with email. Now, a lot of people, they understand this, but they still haven't started building their list because, well, they've got 1,000 reasons why they aren't building their list. But I know everyone's like, boy, it'll take forever to build up my list. I have 0 people. I don't have any following. This is the thing. I love this quote, or this saying, is that if you want to have, like if you have a home and you've got a yard and you would love to have this huge oak tree in your yard to give you shade in the summer, when is the best time to plant that oak tree? Well, the best time is 50 years ago. Just get your time machine and travel back 50 years and plant it. That's the best time to plant that tree. But since not too many of us have a time machine, the second best time is today. And it's the same thing with building a list. It'd be great if you had a time machine. You could go back a year or 5 years or 10 years and start building your list back then. Second best time is now. Because you know what? A year from now will be a year from now. And if you have started today, you'll be that much further ahead. You know, the thing, those people that did start 5 years ago, well, they started 5 years ago, but there's going to be people that 5 years from now look at you and say, boy, they started 5 years ago. I wish I'd started 5 years ago. So just get started. And here's a hint. As a bonus with Product Launch Formula, you get my Launching Your List course, and that goes a lot deeper into all your list building. I just wanted to give you the overall, the big picture view, the 30,000 foot view of how all this works. A couple other things. Small lists can be really, really strong. So you might say, boy, I wish I had 1,000 people on my list. Instead, I've only got 100. Or you might have 1,000 people and you wish you had 3,000. Or you wish you had 30,000. Or you wish you had 100,000. The thing is everyone wishes their list was bigger. But small lists can be really strong. I've seen this over and over and over with my clients. The other thing is relationship is more important than your list size. So if you have a small but highly engaged list that really feels connected to you and that opens your emails and clicks on your emails, that's way better than having a big list where there's no relationship, there's no connection. People don't open those emails, they don't click through. So relationship, far more important than list size. So just really big picture, this is how list building works. So really at the end of the day, it's all about having a squeeze page. So a squeeze page or an opt-in page, a landing page, is a page where you have traffic come into that page and people have a simple decision. They either opt in and join your list and get whatever you're offering them, or they leave your page. So you can have, there's 3 primary types of traffic that you can drive. So this is your squeeze page, and here's your traffic driving into your page. And you can have organic traffic. So this is sort of word of mouth. You've put out good content, people are just finding you. Or you can have affiliate traffic or joint venture traffic, or you can have paid traffic. This is where you're advertising and you're sending people in. So those are 3 primary types. They all have advantages and disadvantages. I think at some point in your business, you'll probably want to use all 3 types of traffic. So exactly how to do that is beyond the scope of this video, but those are your 3 primary ways. Then people come into your opt-in page. You have this thing on this page called a lead magnet. And this is something that you're going to give them if they opt into your page. It's something cool. If they come to my page at productlaunchformula.com, they basically get to go through a launch workshop. So this is something that you think the people in your market are going to be really hot for, that answers one of their big objections or gives them a plan to get to where they want to be, that answers some need, some desire, some question. So that's the lead magnet. You want to make it really cool because at this point, people have a choice to give you their email address or not. So if they leave the page, then they just leave the page and they're no longer in your life until somehow maybe they come back to your page. So I like to think of this as doom and gloom. Their life is forever diminished because they chose not to join your list and not to get involved in your world. So you want to make this squeeze page as compelling as possible. You want to have good copy and a good headline that communicates the value of your lead magnet. So then, if they leave, it's doom and gloom. But if they put their email address in, then they join your list and they get your lead magnet. Make sense? Okay, so if they join your list, now they start getting emails from you. Now at this point, there's 3 big major things you can do for them, with them. And one is you could have what we call a nurture sequence. And if you're just starting out in business and you don't yet have your launch put together, you don't have an offer put together, then you're going to start sending them stuff to just nurture them, to nurture that relationship. And this is how I started my business. When I started out, I was building my list and I didn't have anything for sale. I just knew that I wanted to get in the business. So the first thing I did was I put together an opt-in page. Remember, this was back in the stock market days when I was teaching about the stock market. That was my business. I was publishing newsletters about the stock market. So they would get here and then I would send them newsletters, my free newsletter. That was a nurture campaign. That was a way to build a relationship. I didn't actually know what I was doing at that point. It was just like, I want to build a list. I know there's power in building a list. Then the next time around when I started teaching about online marketing, when I started teaching product launch formula, I again didn't have an offer, but I put up the squeeze page, I created a lead magnet, and I started building a list, and I had a nurture campaign. So even if you're just starting out, this is absolute ground zero for you. The thing you can do is put together a lead magnet, put together a squeeze page. This is much easier now than it used to be. In the old days, it was hard. Now it's a lot easier. Go study launching your list and I'll go through all the resources for this. So the first thing you can do, this is number 1, send them to a nurture campaign. Send them newsletters. Send them value there. Number 2 that some people do is they send them right away into an offer. Not usually the path I go down is to send them right into an offer, because what I do is my favorite, which this should look familiar to you. It's the sideways sales letter. So the list, people join your list and then they go through your sideways sales letter. Now, ideally, if they actually come through and then they'll buy from you. And now you give them the product, but then another magical thing happens. And that magical thing is they go on another list. And this is your buyer's list. And they could also, if if you send them direct into an offer, they could go on your buyer's list. So this over here is a prospect list. So you have a fundamentally different relationship with these two lists. Once someone buys from you, this is magical. They become worth 10 to 15 times more than when they're here. And what I mean by that, it's not like the value, the worth of, you're judging the worth of the person and whether they're going to have a beautiful afterlife or something like that. But what we're talking about is in the future, when you come out with your next offer, and you will have a next offer, and then when you put together a launch for that next offer, you're going to send people here into that launch on your prospect list, and you're going to send the people from your buyers list into the launch. And on average, these people will buy at a rate of 10 to 15 times this. So if you have 1,000 people on this list and you have 200 people on this list, those 200 people will end up buying more than this 1,000. This is 1/5 the size of this. 200 is 1/5 the size of 1,000, but they'll buy at a rate of 10 to 15 times. And that's one way to think about this business is when you're making this sale here, this initial sale, or if you're making the sale up here, if you're making that initial sale, the real value in that sale is not that you've made dollars. You've made that sale, you made dollars. The real value is you've generated a buyer. That's really what that first sale is about, is generating that first buyer because they'll become a repeat buyer. And it's really incredibly powerful. So the key to all this is to start your list building. Now, I do have one unexplained circle up here, and that is one of the greatest ways to build your list is to launch. And the reason is you end up getting a lot of organic word of mouth. You often will, depending on the type of launch you're doing, you might get a lot of affiliate traffic, and it can even drive down the cost of your paid traffic. So really, when you're launching, that's one of the absolute best ways to build your list. You're going to see this as you progress through PLF. So the key is start building your list today and always be building your list.